Why is the BBC so quick to promote people who outwardly say that they hate this country? With their recent Eurovision entry selection, they've selected May Muller, a left-wing activist who has outwardly said that she hates this country, and through her Twitter we've seen absolute anti-Tory drivel. Darren, what do you make of this?
Well, look, I think first of all, Jess, it's worth saying before some clever sod replies to this video and says something like, oh, I thought Reason and Darren Grimes and Jess Gill were for free speech. Of course we're for free speech. May Muller is welcome to tweet whatever she wants about Boris Johnson potentially not being, suitable for intensive care and a ventilator and all the rest of it, which she actually said, by the way. And she's welcome to tweet such horrible views, in my opinion. The intolerant left are welcome to be as vile as they want to be on the internet. But the problem here is that the BBC seem to exclusively select people like her, like Gary Lineker, to actually receive funding by the license fee. Of course, she's getting a tour around Europe and all the rest of it. And they exclusively reveal their penchant for left-wing fanaticism, Jess, right? So let's not forget that it's so soon after Gary Lineker comparing border controls in Britain to 1930s Nazi Germany. And now it transpires that our BBC selected entry to the Eurovision Song Contest, which is held in Liverpool this year, for those that don't know, on behalf of Ukraine, it just shows that their loony left intolerance is a streak that runs right through the very heart of the BBC. And I mean, Jess, at Eurovision last year, I'm a big Eurovision fan. I'll hold my hands up to that. But we reached the stratosphere last year. We had our highest scoring UK Eurovision entrant. You don't hear that very often. The UK is normally a laughingstock. But we had this Viking-looking bloke, an Essex lad, and he is called Sam Ryder. And he sang Spaceman. It's a good song. And he secured that second place rather. And the BBC had a real opportunity here to actually build on that success. But instead, he's divided the nation by selecting someone that thinks that the Tories, 14 million people, let's not forget, Jess, voted Conservative in 2019. And May Muller reckons, she's only 25, so you can put it down to the ignorance of youth, I guess. But she actually reckons that the Conservative Party are a party of racists and elitists. I mean, come up here to the northeast and look at how many people are elitists and racists in this part of the world. It's just a really disgusting, divisive view to hold. But clearly the BBC think, brilliant. This is absolutely fantastic to represent Britain on the world stage. And what I want to ask viewers, Jess, is can you imagine the BBC selecting a candidate who, for example, tweeted views against Black Lives Matter during that summer of lockdown, where they, of course, were graffitiing on the cenotaph, our most important war memorial, and of course, assaulting police officers? Now, what about a tweet or two about how women don't have a penis, or a line or three on politicians in the Labour Party turning a blind eye to the rape of girls for fear of not being politically correct, or, tweeting about being pro-Brexit? I can honestly say with all hand on heart that the BBC would never have selected someone that had tweeted such views, but it's all right to say that the Prime Minister's, impending death would be A-OK and dismiss it as perhaps a conspiracy theory, which is what the implication of what she was saying was. A whole host of things around the Tories being elitists and racists. She advocated voting for Jeremy Corbyn, who's, let's not forget, Jess, has his own little penchant for racism in the form of anti-Semitism. All of these other things where actually it is incredibly divisive. And Eurovision, I think, should be a contest that actually brings the nation together behind this camp, pop, Europop trash. It's just a bit of fun. But you strip away that fun if you inject it with a dose of hard left politics like this. Just the most vile views, Jess. I just think it's a real shame of the BBC to be so partisan.
It is a shame, and it's just so telling how most of our establishment pretty much wants to uplift those who seem to hate our country, who seem to hate
Yeah.
British democracy and everything we stand for. And then at the same time, they want to cancel anyone or anything that represents the best of Britain. Look at Roald Dahl, look at J.K. Rowling. It just seems like we're heading towards our own destruction, and the people in this country are the ones doing it. It's self-destructive.
Yeah, I mean, well, since I wrote my piece for GB News on this very topic, loads of people have been saying, "Look, I'm just not going to watch Eurovision," and that's a sad consequence of this kind of divisive intolerance. It goes to the very heart of the issue, Jess, which is this. I believe it was Roger Scruton that said this. Actually, the left believe the right is evil, the right think the left is mistaken. That's the intolerance of the left, the hard left. So I think it's a real shame because this is a moment that could have brought us all together behind who she is a good singer. I don't doubt that for a second. But tweeting something like Boris does not have my sympathy and never will, whilst he's in an intensive care unit. I mean, it's repugnant, Jess. That's what it is. It's utterly repugnant. So shame on the BBC, shame on her, and it proves the old adage that too many tweets make a twat, thankfully, Jess, if I can say that on this channel. Have you got what it takes to be a reasoned presenter? Well, send us a short clip of yourself to join@reasoned.uk, and we might be seeing you on this very channel very soon indeed.